So we are officially, it's March 24th. So right now, like, it feels like we're still in the first quarter, but we know we're in the second quarter already, right? Like all of our March activities turned into April closings. So everybody's been doing a really, really great job with that. Like sales are picking up, the market is crazy. So all of that is awesome. Let's start with shout outs, with gratitude. Who all in your team, in your life is like awesome and showing up as a leader or showing up as a good friend or a good colleague? Click your reaction button and raise your hand so that you can share with the entire world how awesome everyone is doing in your world. Casey, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I got a couple. First off, I want to shout out Joseph Madrid. Joseph Madrid. That was real boring. He just had his 1-year anniversary. One of our favorite dudes. He's super, super cool and a really big sweetheart. Not only is he a great dude that we love, but he has grown so much, and I cannot imagine this team without him. So Joseph, thanks for who you are, man, the heartbeat of the team, for what you do, and excited to start year 2 with you. And then I also want to shout out Kaylin on our team for getting her top agent status here in Austin. She's another that just leaned into the systems, into the models, and just took off with listings especially. So she's listing to last and just getting started. So grateful for both of them.
I love that. Joseph is a good guy. The kind of guy that we all want to be, right? And Kaylin, 308 days it took her to get to 100,000 GCI, brand spanking new. So congratulations, Kaylin, and awesome, great job. Sharon, good morning or afternoon.
Well, it's still morning where I am, but I'm more on Ben's side of the country right now. So actually I need to talk to him about his new place here in Scottsdale. We're talking about leverage today, and I'm like, we are so excited to share that we've added some new virtual team members to our Austin group. And so thrilled that we're able to leverage talent from Brevity VA. And then also just wanted to give a shout out to Anthony over in Houston. My gosh, he has got the best attitude. Every time I talk to that guy on the phone, he's got energy, he's doing great things. He's so coachable. He wants to learn the systems. And so I just wanted to give a high five to Anthony too.
Anthony in Houston, great job, bud. You're a breath of fresh air. We love that. We love that. Anybody else? Anything else for the next minute before Ben jumps on? Gratitude. Anybody doing well on your team that you're shouting out? Or not so well, but they're pushing through.
Yeah, Alina, I'll jump in real quick.
Yeah.
So I want to give for our grit, Patty and our Houston team. She's on week 3 of launch. This is her first week of getting on the dialer, and she just passed. I think she passed 750 dials this week. And the other day, she was in there and she got a potential buy-sell combo on her first day on the dialer, and everybody kind of looked at her like, all right, okay. So it's kind of like made everybody else just like kind of riled everybody up. So thank you, Patty, for that grit.
I love that. I heard that story yesterday. Patty in Houston, way to go, getting an appointment off of your dials. So happy to see the system work, the model work. I love that. Alicia, good morning, afternoon.
Good afternoon. Forgive me, I'm driving on the other side of San Antonio now, but just wanted to shout out our buyer partner, Tyler. He's just completely leaned into launch as if he were a full solo agent on his own, and he's just killing it. I mean, setting listing appointments, circle prospecting, and just jumps in and can really just anticipate buyer needs really early on. So I'm super proud of him and super excited for him to become the CEO while we're gone for the weekend.
I love that. How appropriate for today's call. A shout out to your partner, Tyler. Great job, Tyler. You rock. Tamala, good morning.
Hey, everyone. Good morning. I just wanted to shout out the whole team. So yesterday, I was just noticing like throughout our Slack channel, there were so many people just getting shout outs for different things. And as the day kept going by, you know, Brandon's there, he's like, shout out to this person, that person, this person. And by the end of the night, I remember turning to my husband and just being like, today was just an awesome day. Everybody is just doing their thing and all these shout outs. It was just like this long in the Slack channel. It was just amazing. So I just want to shout out the whole team and just everybody who's working hard there.
Man, I love that, Tamala. And I'm glad we get to wrap with that because it's so important. If we want a certain culture, we have to build that kind of culture, right? If we want a culture that feels good, we have to build that. And your entire team is building that. And it takes a leader, but it takes everyone else doing that. I love it. All right. We are not going to have a drinking game of how many times I say this good morning. It is afternoon, and I'm aware it's afternoon, but old habits die hard. This is the first time in like, I don't know, almost 2 years that I haven't had an 8:30 in the morning. I wanted to tell Ben, thank you for that. I got an extra 30 minutes of sleep this morning. Speaking of Ben, Ben, I'm gonna find you on, I'm gonna go ahead and make you co-host. I'm gonna spotlight you for everyone. Super enthused this morning to have the Ben Kinney. What are you eating?
Oatmeal.
Okay, better than ice cream.
It's breakfast of champions, everybody. But yeah, a couple hours later, this might have been a thing of ice cream.
I know. I was like, I don't know. As soon as I asked it, I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask. Awesome. So we are ready for you. Just to catch you up, the last few weeks we've been talking about leads, generating leads, converting leads, and then we've been talking about taking listings. And it's only appropriate now that we're talking about all this to move into leverage. And leverage for all of us, we're all on a team, so we have amazing leverage within our teams already. We have Brivity, that is amazing leverage. And then as we build our business, we have the leverage model. So no one better to talk to us about that. And if you're not on camera, this would be a good time to get on camera. We're just more engaged when we are actively looking at each other. So Ben, all yours.
That's like a subtle warning from Adelina to all of you that I don't put up with that crap. Like I don't show up to a meeting with a sack over my head, and you guys shouldn't either. So get on camera. She just said it in like a super nicer way because she's super sweeter than me. Oh man, it is good to see you all. And yes, it is good morning here in Bellingham, Washington. Adelina, thank you so much for making me not do an 8 a.m. call. Like that means the world to me. Like you guys have already been out there getting work done, getting some lead gen, setting your appointments. This week, I heard about some of the seller lead gen that all of you are doing, and congrats, you killed it in one day. You showed what this organization can do if they put a focus on one particular types of leads. So I want this to be a little bit of an open conversation today. So feel free to jump into chat and ask questions or raise your hand and I can call on you, or Adelina, just chime in, interrupt me, say whatever you want to say. And we're talking about leverage. But before we talk about leverage, I'm unfortunately going to tell you a story, which is like, it's like worse than hanging out with your dad or your grandpa or somebody. Like this always starts a story. And the bad part with your grandpa, Dana, or your dad, you've heard the same stupid story 7 times. So you end up hearing the same story and over again. So here's what I'm thinking. When I got started in real estate, my first couple of transactions were like a guy and a girl that I met that I went to college with. And I bought them a $137,000 house. And then I sold a home to one of my sister's best friends. And then I had another buddy I grew up in high school. And I did, 4 or 5 of those transactions. And that was it. I mean, I basically ran out of friends. I sold everybody that I knew that was personally my friend that could get qualified for real estate, a house, and I ran out. And I did what any aspiring entrepreneur and successful person would do. I went and got a job because I got worried about where my next paycheck was coming from. And I went and got a job at Quest Communications. Quest is the phone company out here in the Northwest, and now they've changed their name 7 times since then. But God, that job sucked. It was like arguably one of the worst jobs. Like cable guy sucked, but phone company is like a step below cable guy. I think it's like garbage man, power person. Like it goes down the list. Like I was at the very bottom when I worked for the phone company. I took a job at the phone company and my job was to sell T1 lines. Most of you don't know what a T1 line because you've never experienced that. But a T1 line was 1.5 megabytes of download speed. And it was fast. It was super fast. Like it wouldn't play Netflix today, but it was super fast compared to what you could get on your dial-up, right? Is everybody paying attention to me? Yeah, I feel like you are. Okay, buffering, exactly, right? And the internet was super, super slow, but I had to sell it, right? So I cold called, right? And I was cold calling to sell T1 lines and phone services to small businesses. And if I did, I would make a couple $100, and that was awesome. But I decided to go whale hunting one day. And I went on my whale hunting. I said, I'm going to find somebody that wants to buy a whole bunch of these. Ironically enough, I got a hold of Chicago Title. And Chicago Title needed a T1 line for every single Chicago title office in the nation. And I got them to do the agreement. And I got them to sign it. I sold it. I went to my boss and said, I got it signed. I hit my sales quota, Matt, for the next 3 years. 3 years. My boss calls me a week later, says, hey, Ben, I got some bad news. I said, what? And he said, yeah, that was too big of a sale. We can't pay you on it. It has to go to national accounts. And they stole my commission, and they didn't give me any credit for the sale. I did what any super, super respectful person would do, and I just didn't go back to work. Like, I didn't turn in my name badge. I didn't give him back the laptop. I didn't call my boss and tell him I was quitting. I just didn't show up. They paid me for another month or two, and I was so pissed. I'm like, I'm just never coming back. We'll figure it out. You want your laptop? You can come to my house. What did I learn from that? I learned that I quit a job that was going to make $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on every single sale to go work at a new job where I had to still lead generate, but only get paid less money and have jerks at a corporate office screw me out of the biggest paycheck I could ever imagine because it was too big. So I came groveling back to my real estate office. And I went back to my broker and I said, broker, I already quit the cable company. I've already quit the phone company, and I'm afraid of electricity. So I'm not getting up on the telephone poles. I need to make this real estate thing work. And she said, Ben, nobody's going to come walking into this office every single day looking for you specifically to buy and sell real estate. You are going to need to put yourself in the path of opportunity every single day. And I said, what does that mean, Marcia? And she said, you got to knock on doors, Ben. You got to call people. You got to reach out to people you know. You got to email people. You got to write letters. You got to be willing to get in front of as many people as possible every single day. I said, okay, I'm going to make it work. By this time that year, it was my first full year. I'd already kind of wasted 3 months in the phone company debacle of 2004. And I said, I'm going to make this work. My first job was to just find some people that would work with me. And it was always easier to find buyers in the beginning when you're a new agent. I think because the age of who I was, it was just my people I knew were buyers, and I could sit at other people's open houses and buyers come into open houses. And I just kind of figured out ways to get buyers. And then I started figuring out ways to get sellers. Tell you what it did is it taught me that it takes a certain amount of dials every single day to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop. If you're as old as me, you know what that commercial is. If you're not, just Google it. 1, 2, you know what I mean? Back then, it took me 52 dials to get one appointment. And when I was starting out, it took me multiple appointments to get a buyer or into contract or to get a listing in the contract. Over time, I got better and better, and I needed less appointments. But let's say back then it took me, I don't know, 150 dials to probably get one solid person that wanted to work with me. It didn't mean they're actually going to write an offer, and it didn't mean that their listing was actually going to sell, but it took me 150 dials. So what I did, Jen, is I just took 52 pennies and I put them in my left pocket every morning. And every time I made a dial, I took one of those pennies and I put it in my right pocket. And I wouldn't go home until I'd moved all my pennies from my left pocket to my right pocket. And it started off slow because the seeds you plant in the spring are the crops you harvest in the fall. But after a couple months of continuing to do that, to make those calls and then go do door knocks or go do open houses, I started to get some momentum. By the end of that year, I closed 26 transactions. Remember, I had no Brivity, I had no dialer, I had no admin, I had no TC, I had no VA, I had no Adelina and Laura and Sarissa, and I had no leaders to help me. It was just me, a bumbling young kid who barely looks like he hit puberty. He still today doesn't have to shave. Like it was me, and I was bumbling around the world trying to figure this out. 26 transactions. So what happens as a solo agent when you don't have the support of the team? I'm removing people from the Zoom call if they're not paying attention. Okay, I just removed somebody. So pay attention. I give up my time, you give me your time. So somebody, number one person just got kicked off for talking the entire time, drive me nuts. Okay, when you're getting to 25, 26 transactions, and you have no team support and you have no TC and you have no CRM and you have no marketing help and you have none of that, you start letting things slip through the cracks. Helen, what was slipping through my cracks was like buyer leads. I had buyer leads on napkins and gas receipts. I had people from open houses that I hadn't followed up with, Anthony. I had a list of people. I had more business in my pocket than I ever closed. I just didn't do anything with them because I wasn't organized. So I went off and I hired an assistant. Many of you probably have seen that young lady because she's still with us today. Kayla and Matt and Dawn and Amanda and Casey. Her name's Jolene, and she started with our company 16, 17 years ago, and she's still here today. But Jolene helped me understand that when you take things off your plate that you suck at, and you take your time and you spend it on something that you're good at, you can unlock your potential. So I didn't go from 25 transactions the next year to 30 or to 40 or to 50. I went from 26 transactions to 84. 3 times the amount of business because I went and found a piece of leverage. Now, all of you have more leverage than I had starting out. You have all the support in place. You have all the technology. You have the dialers, the marketing, the DOOs, the VAs, the transaction help. You have all those things. I didn't have any of that. So you should be able to easily get to 3 to 4 transactions per month and get to that level of business where you're now hitting your ceiling, where you're missing out on business, or you don't have time to call your past clients, or you don't have time to follow up with all your leads. So at that point, you have a couple choices. 1, be satisfied, and that's perfectly okay. 2, work more hours and give up your health, your happiness, your relationships, right? But get your dog will hate your guts. Like you can go through that entire process, or you can say, Jordan, that what I want to do, Mackenzie and Kaylee and Esther and Chris, I want to focus, write this down, everybody. I want to focus today on increasing my hourly rate. I have so many friends in real estate who on the award ceremonies, they make $1 million or $2 million or $3 million a year, and they make a fraction of what Maria nets in a year. They make $4 million or $5 million, and they couldn't go to a car dealership with me and Dana buy a nice Ford 150, right? Just get a nice, good. No, you're not a Ford 150 person. That's our first official fight, Dana. I didn't realize it's like this is a big deal right now. They couldn't go buy a truck because they spend every single dollar that they make. Hey, by the way, let's just take a side poll. Dana, what kind of car what's your truck of choice?
A white GMC 2500.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just go into chat real quick and just say Ford or Chevy. You know, GMC is like a crappy version of a Chevy. So go and just say Ford or Chevy. Just pick one of those two into chat. Let's just hear, if you had to vote, like, what would you do? Okay, Dana, we'll see how we end up here at the end of this. See who's right. See who's right.
I'm ready.
I care about my hourly rate. I care about my hourly rate. If you want to have an amazing life, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on improving Chris and Jesus and Andrew and Joe and Tyler and Nikki. I want you to focus on increasing your hourly rate, not just increasing your income. Any idiot can increase their income by spending more hours. And there's consequences that you don't get back: your health, your happiness, your relationships, your faith, the things that really matter in life. And if we focus on improving our hourly rate, we get to take advantage of opportunities. And at Place, there's going to be more opportunities than you could ever imagine coming down the pipeline: stock option programs, other investment opportunities, buying real estate with us, getting your own investment properties, starting other businesses. There's all these things. But opportunities require two things. Write this down. Number one, money. Man, in 2008 and 2010, I drove by so many cheap houses. I could have bought them all. And Joseph, if I would have bought them all, I'd be like the mega landlord of the world. I would have bought them all and they'd all be worth 10 times more. But there was a problem, Joseph. I didn't have any money. And all the opportunities, they passed me by. Esther, I went to Phoenix with a guy and I just hung out with him because he was cool and he had money and I didn't. And we bought, and by we, I mean him, but I came with him. We bought 28 condos for under $15,000 in a weekend in Arizona. All of those condos are worth 150, 200, 250, 300 today. He bought them. I think we bought one for $6,000. Now, mind you, it was one of those condos that you wipe your feet before you leave. You guys know the difference? Like some houses you wipe your feet before you go in, like Adelina's house, right? But some houses you wipe your feet before you leave. And that was definitely one of those. Man, $6,000 condo. Can you believe that? Well, the first thing that opportunity requires is money. But if you want to get promoted, you want to take a leadership role, you want to run your own real estate team, you want to take a job with Place, you want to start other businesses, you want to manage properties, you need something more than money. You need time. And time is created by implementing systems and models in your business and in your activities every single day so that you can do the same amount as the average agent, but you can do it in 25% of the time. There are amazing individuals out there that produce at levels that just blow my mind away. Many of which are in this organization here in Texas. One that stands out to me that's not in this room, I don't know if you've interviewed him before, but Adelina, have you ever interviewed Ryan Hansen for this group?
No, I haven't. He's on our list.
Yeah, we should get Ryan Hansen here for Texas. Ryan Hansen is a freak of nature. He does 180 transactions a year personally. 180 transactions a year personally himself. Like, you want to see what's possible? Yeah, that's pretty incredible. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about leverage. And we're going to talk about specifically the Place leverage model. So if you can all see that, everybody wave at me if you can see it. That's awesome. Do me a favor, go into chat real quick and tell me an aha that you've had so far. Number one, pay attention when you're on Zoom with me. Don't talk to other people. It's annoying. Any other ahas? Increase your hourly rate. 180 transactions as possible. Increase your hourly rate. Chevys are not better. Increase my hourly rate. Time is money. Focus on, okay, these are good. These are good takeaways. So the rest of us, look, your whole team's listening. That's so good. I love it. Okay. What is Place? It's a place for us to build our careers. It's a place for us to build a business that we own. And it's a place for us to build wealth. And I hope you all see that. You can go anywhere and be a real estate agent. And they're a dime of the dozen, Valencia. We've all talked to more idiot real estate agents in Texas than anybody. There's a dime a dozen. But if you want to be phenomenal, Jordan, and you want to get to the absolute next level, you're going to have to start understanding leverage. So what is leverage? Leverage first is systems. Things like Brivity, following a process, using our listing presentation. Those guarantee success in real estate, Jordan. Leverage is tools like the dialers, appointment trackers, right? auto plans. These are all things that allow us to work and have your business continue even while you're not standing there. Next, leverage. Leverage gives us in some way more of our time back. The dictionary says leverage is to use something to its maximum advantage. That's something that we're looking to use ourselves is our time. Our time. What can we do to make sure that we make the most amount of money per hour? In my mind, it would spend the most amount of your time lead generating for new buyers and sellers, or getting those buyers that you already have to write an offer, or getting those sellers that you already have listed to drop their price or to accept an offer. Those are high dollar productive activities. Really, 80% of everything else we do is just stuff. We got to be careful that we don't confuse leverage with luxury. So on one side of your piece of paper, write leverage. On the other side, do me a favor and write luxury. Leverage is when you replace that time that you've just created for yourself by joining a team or implementing technology or using auto plans or hiring a showing assistant or getting your own assistant. And that newfound time, you use it to do something more productive, like generate more business. Luxury is when you bring somebody into your world, like a showing agent or an admin or a VA or whatever, and it doesn't actually increase the production of yourself, of your team. That's just a luxury. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to make the same amount of money and work less hours, you can follow that plan. That's okay if that's your goal. Where there's no judgment here on that. But if you want to actually grow your business and grow your wealth, you're going to have to create leverage, not luxury. Every real estate professional hits the ceiling of achievement. The question is, what are we going to do about it? In my mind, there's two key secrets to success. Number one, success happens when priorities happen in the right order. Do me a favor, write that down. Success happens, Brooklyn and Brian and Beth and Jennifer and Laura, when priorities happen in the right order. Imagine if you were cooking something and you put the frosting like in with the cake batter. That'd be weird, right? But you used all the same ingredients. You're like, oh, I got cake batter, I got a pan, I got frosting, I got sprinkles. Let's just dump it all right in there. Oh, I was going to have ice cream with it. Once I'm going to put some ice cream in that pan too. Then you stick it in the oven. What do you end up with? You end up with what I call shit soup. It's just a combination of a bunch of crap. It doesn't taste good anymore. But if it was done in the right order, Melissa and Leah, you would have had a great piece of cake and some awesome vanilla ice cream. It would have had frosting and sprinkles, maybe a candle because it's your birthday, right? That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Okay, what's the second secret? More hours do not equate to more success. Implementing leverage is what leads to more success. More hours do not equate to more success. Implementing leverage is what leads to more success. So that's what we're going to talk about, the leverage model. The goal is to improve both your life and your income by focus on increasing your hourly rate. How do we improve our life? We don't miss our kids' soccer games or their dance recitals or the important times. We don't skip date night with our honey bunnies, right? We don't miss church, or we don't miss other things that are super important to us. We don't miss working out, whatever that might be. And yet we can still grow our income. Most of you have probably seen the leverage model before, but here it is. If you can get your business up from a brand new agent to a producing agent that's doing 1 to 2 transactions per month, you get to do what I call in our world, stay. Meaning it's worthwhile for you to stay in real estate and not go get a different job, and for you to make a good living here. And you can make a great living if you're consistently closing 2 transactions a month. And if you're super happy with that, Judy and Ashley and Brooklyn. That's awesome. That's your goal. I want you to hit it. But if you want to get to the next level, I need you to push yourself from consistently closing 1 or 2 a month to consistently closing 3 or 4 a month. When you do that, you actually will need more leverage and you'll have enough business coming in, Jackie, that you can support a showing agent or a partner to work with. When you aren't doing 3 to 4 transactions a month, you bring in a showing agent and that showing agent does not have enough business. So they end up quitting in a little bit of time. And then you're back to square one and you've trained somebody for no reason. So what I think about is when you're following the leverage model, you're becoming a leader and a business owner, and you're building a team within our team. And you have a fiduciary duty to whoever you partner with to make sure that they're going to have a kick-ass life and they're going to have a kick-ass income because there's enough business coming in for them to work as well. Showing agent needs 4 to 8 buyers a month that they can go close. If you're not doing 3 to 4 on your own, you're not going to get to 4 to 8 with a showing agent. So first step, get to that level of production. Once you hire a showing agent, every team that built a team within our team doesn't stay at 3 to 4 transactions. If they do leverage instead of luxury, they automatically go from 30 deals a year to 50 or 60 or 70 transactions because they unlock the potential. Now you have 2 people working in synergy every single day to work with buyers and work with sellers and get business done. You have 80 hours a week between you and the other person to hit a home run. But at some point, you're also going to run out of time. You got to turn in listing paperwork. You got to get things signed. You got to call your clients. You got to do all sort of things. So we recommend once you're closing around 6 transactions a month, that you hire an admin. Could be a VA, could be part-time, could be full-time. You bring in somebody, and Sarissa and Jordan and Tracy and Laura and Adelina and all the team leaders in our group, they will cover half of the cost of that admin for you. So long as you continue to close those amount of transactions every single month. If you don't, that cost goes back to you. We want to invest in you making more money and you having more leverage. So if you get to that level, you're going to wake up and you truly have a team within a team. You have all the support that Adelina offers and Jordan and Sarissa and Tracy and Laura and all of our partners. And you have your own showing agent and you have your own admin. You should truly be able at that point to get to 80 to 100 transactions. And the opportunities just get unlocked from that point. At that level of business, you can buy whatever piece of real estate you want. You can get that pool with the floaties, like maybe like a unicorn floaty. That'd be cool with the pool. Maybe the pool has a slide. That'd be sick. Get like an outdoor kitchen. That'd be awesome. But you could also buy rental properties, right? And duplexes and houses and put money in your retirement. And you can start doing really amazing things and put money away for your kids' college. You do amazing things once you're doing that level of business. So I'm going to stop for a second. Tell me your ahas or some of your thoughts or some of your questions. Put them in chat or raise your hand, and Adelina and I will talk to you about it. It's amazing. I love all the feedback. You guys are killing it. Hi, Valencia, Miss Leverage.
Hi, Ben. Yes, I just wanted to say that it is great when success happens in the right order. And it's really cool that we have all the ingredients, but it's even better when you do them in the right order.
Oh yeah, so good. Yeah, so important. We don't want that cake getting made the wrong way. Jordan said the importance of systems and leading yourself first. Tyler said reaching new peaks leads to new opportunities. Jen says that there's a difference, leverage versus luxury. I've had a couple of agents in Bellingham and around me that have hired showing agents off and on for years. But whenever they did, they never doubled down on lead generation. They got 50% of their time back, but they did no more lead generation. So that showing agent did 2 or 3 transactions and then they quit. And then they're like, oh, that showing agent thing, that doesn't work. I tried it. It's like, hey, the first time you went on a date, did that work out? Or did you probably have to go kiss a few more ducks before you found that prince or princess or whatever you're looking for in your life? Like sometimes, right, we got to go through a couple ducks to find that eagle. And sometimes we got to make sure that we're showing up as the best version so that eagle or that princess or that prince doesn't fly away. Daniel Moore, money and time need to converge to be able to take advantage of opportunities when they come around. Otherwise, you have to watch them pass you by. So true. I got so tired of seeing my friends make the investments or hear about the properties that my friends bought or the businesses they invested in or the vacations they took or the house they had. At some point, I had to become disciplined in my business and disciplined in my finances so I could take advantage of these opportunities. Adelina, anything standing out to you right now before we go on, or anything you want to point out or ask me?
Yeah, I think we touched on, leverage versus luxury. You touched on success happens in the right order. I think what I see a lot of over the years is our number one job never changes. And what Ben said our number one job is to find sellers and find buyers. And then the next job is to get them off the fence, right? And what tends to sometimes happen is, oh my gosh, now I've got somebody who's going to help me do that. So I do less of that. Or I wasn't maybe even doing it before, and now I'm definitely not doing it, right? Like that leverage piece, that showing agent or that buyer partner isn't like the saving grace, right? And sometimes it happens that we kind of tell ourselves that they're going to be our saving grace, and no, that's not. So I think of leadership when it comes to that, Ben, and like leadership is servant leadership. So that's like, if we could find a way to identify how we will self-lead and then lead others, like that's where it all starts. So self-leading means, hey, I'm going to still do my lead gen. Hey, I'm still going to help my buyer partner convert, right? Like they're not here to save me. I'm here to build a business with them. So that would be cool.
Yeah, so good. I didn't really say this clearly in my story earlier, Adelina. When I hired Jolene, there was 2 reasons why my business increased. 1, because she took things off my plate that allowed me to be more productive. But 2, she forced me to show up on days I would have mailed it in or stayed on the couch or watched Netflix or not shown up because I didn't have somebody that counted on me before. And having a partner in your business, an admin or showing agent, gets you to show up on days that you don't want to show up because it's no longer about you. It gets you to become a better level of person. It's like all of us have to show up for each other. It forces us to. And that's a hidden benefit of building leverage and having a partner or an admin in your world. It just forces you to be the person you don't want to, that you maybe didn't want to be that day. Like having a workout partner that you have to meet at the gym. You're like, crap, I really do not want to go to the gym, but I know they're already there. And if I don't show up, they're going to be pissed. So what do? You show up, and when you get done, you're like, I'm kind of glad I did that. I'm kind of glad that I pushed through and I showed up. Hypothetically, it's been a long time since I've been to the gym. So that's kind of a poor analogy for me, but back in the day, that's how I used to feel. Jennifer, did you have your hand up for a second?
I did, and then I chickened out, but I just wanted to touch on the more hours doesn't equal more success. I think it's important for us to define what success looks like for us. My first year was in 2020, and I did very well, but it was my first time as a single mom, and it came at the detriment of my relationship with my son, and he hated my job. He hated real estate, hated open houses and showings. And so I had to really go back and look at this leverage model. And I've heard you talk about, the leverage and luxury. When I started dipping into the leverage part of what the team offers, I slacked off quite a bit, and I let the team do what they were supposed to do. And I took that time and invested it. And I wasn't showing like crazy, but I also was not dialing as much. I wasn't lead generating like I should. So while I allowed the team to come in and leverage, I took that time to spend more with my son, but I wasn't incorporating the lead gen like I should. So I think it's important to go back and define for yourself, what does success look like for you and what areas, and then going in and time blocking them and allowing the leverage to do what it's supposed to do to alleviate time needed for you, your family, your health, but also don't skip lead generation. The leverage is there so that you can allocate more time to lead generate.
Yeah, well said, Jennifer. You've had and built a great business. We're super proud of what you've done in Dallas. But here's what I want you all to hear. You can have both. You can be an amazing mom or an amazing dad or amazing partner, an amazing spouse, right? And you can make a lot of money, but you can't do it the way you've always done it. You have to change things in your world, and you got to change how you do it. The number one thing I hear from agents on why they don't want to do the leverage model, like, oh, I don't want my business to get any bigger. I already work too much. And they don't understand. I'm telling them the exact opposite thing. My goal is to help them make more money and work less hours. If you want to sell 12 homes a year, that's awesome. I'm super proud of you. If that's your goal and you hit it, I'm going to high five and hug you, just like if you had a goal to hit 100. What Adelina and all of us want for you is we want you to hit your goals, whatever that number is. And if there's a limitation that's stopping you from hitting that goal, and that limitation is time, this is the answer. Laura?
Hey, Ben. Hi, everybody. Hey, I just want to do two things. I want to shout out the incredible Amanda Pullman, who brought me into her team 3 years ago and talked to me about this, team within a team like 2 years ago. So my 21-year-old daughter is getting licensed. She is going to be my next leverage partner. And I've been working with the developer for many years. And so thanks to Adelina and Nick at Brivity and Amelia, who starts spelling her name with an E, sorry. Emily, sorry, Emali. They helped us design logos for a development and create an additional page. Anyways, through all of this, we are now getting this opportunity that I wasn't going to have for another development. And Amanda and I just booked that listing appointment for next week. And this is going to be key because there's no way I can run 3 new developments personally. So I'm really stepping up and going to take advantage of this and bring my daughter in. And I think it's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to meet you in Scottsdale. Yay!
Thank you. I think that's awesome comments. And I hope all of you are listening. There's leverage all around you, and there's tools that Place can offer and our local teams can offer that are the first level of leverage. So let's talk about that. Leverage level 1. The vast majority of real estate professionals generate transactions with any form of leverage. I'm talking about the 2 million idiots out there that tried to go out this on their own, and they struggle. And they struggle because after 10 years of experience, the National Association of Realtors says the average realtor with 10 years experience sells under 12 transactions. The average first-year agent with Place is closer to 18 to 24 transactions. First year, not even saying that they've been there the entire year. We outperform as brand new agents, realtors with 10 years experience. Why? Because our teams, Place, we provide massive amounts of leverage to help you hit your goals. Technology, Brivity, lead generation, training, coaching, systems, marketing, administrative, transactional support. Those are all leverage, and you don't have to pay anything for it. Your net income at 50% of the commission, right? Whatever that number is greater than 99% of the agents running their own businesses, because most top teams net anywhere from 10% to 30% if they're lucky. You as top professionals get to bring home 50% of your gross commission income as that agent that starts on the team. It's really phenomenal that you have the ability to get launched so quickly. So what do we do in level 1? We focus to build a consistent and predictable business and income. One of the big stressors in my life has been when finances showed up in my world, worried about my car breaking down or paying my mortgage statement or my cell phone being turned off or overdraft fees in my bank account. I've been through all that. And there's nothing worse for my weight or my energy or my happiness than financial stress. And I realized over time that financial stress in our industry was caused 100% by me. But you don't realize it because I'm having a bad month this month, but it's because I slacked off in December. I mailed it in for the month of December. Now February and March suck. And I get bummed out because in March I'm working super hard, but it doesn't feel like the money's coming in. But it's because I didn't work hard consistently over a longer period of time. And then you end up with this game I call rich agent, poor agent. 1 month you're rich, the next month you're poor, then you're rich, and then you're poor. And it's like this yin yang of your emotions and your health and your energy and your weight and everything, because it's so hard on us. So your job should be to build a consistent and predictable business. When you're going out there and you're doing 24 transactions at a price of 300,000, you're going to have gross commission income to you of over $100,000. And I don't know, I mean, let's just take a survey. The job that you did prior to real estate, I know there's going to be some of these all over the board. What did you make? And put the number in chat, and then put, was it more or less than in real estate? And if you're just getting started, that doesn't count. So if you've been doing this for a while, yeah, 47, 55, 66, 60, 40. I was in high school. 55,000. That's true. 26. There's some great incomes for some of these. Brian, good job. 65. Most of us have the opportunity in our very first year of real estate to exceed what 90% of the people putting in chat were making, working full time, showing up every single day. And yet we don't always treat real estate like it's a full-time job. Now, let me ask you a question. In those jobs that paid you $65, $70, or $100,000, if you didn't show up for a couple days, or you left early, or you called in sick all the time, or you only did half of your job, or you didn't follow the process, what would they have done to you? Anybody?
Terminated.
Terminated. They would have 86'd you out of the business. Yet we don't 86 ourselves out of the business when we show up that way. Why don't we treat ourselves like we're the boss of ourselves and think about, how did I show up today? One of the quotes that I like to use is, if Stephanie, if somebody followed me today and they stood behind me for the entire day and they didn't say a word, but they took notes, Brenda, would they be impressed or would they be depressed? And I ask myself that every day. Did I win today? Right? Did I do something that made me feel productive, or did I go to work and I was just busy? I worked on the social medias. I worked on my pending contracts, right? I was super busy. And then what happens is we come home, Adelina, and we say, I'm so exhausted. I've been working so much. It's nonstop. I'm exhausted. Like freaking Eeyore, like all the time. I'm exhausted. And I thought, how are you exhausted? You aren't selling anything. What are you doing? You're putting some hours in. So let's reframe this. I put in 16 hours straight, and I got home and I was jacked up. And I was jacked up because I won that day. And I put 8 hours in and I got home and I was exhausted. Was it because of how many hours I worked, or was it because I didn't win? If you want to not be exhausted at the end of the day, Kaylee, then you got to say, what does winning look like tomorrow? And you do like Maria does, and you show up and you say, I'm going to win today. And at the end of the day, you have somebody to high five. Mimo, high five, freaking nailed it. Nailed it. I did what I said I was going to do. Okay, let's talk about leverage level 2. 3 to 4 closings a month. At this level, in my mind, you've earned the right to start considering having a showing agent. Doesn't mean it's the right thing for you, but I think it's an option. 3 or 4 closings, close consistently for a handful of months, with a pipeline in front of you, Joseph, of doing the same thing for the near future. In my mind, that's the qualifying, cross the start line, we're ready to go. Our focus in level 2 is increasing our hourly rate through the addition of a showing agent. Now, why do we do that? Is because I found that we can work with 4 to 8 great buyers at a time, or 40 to 50 sellers. So if you can lead generate for buyers and get them working with your showing partner, somebody awesome like Jordan, right? Just like Judy has, and find somebody you can partner with. If you replace that time with getting more buyer appointments and getting listings, you can really, really scale and grow your business. So I sat back and I thought to myself, why don't I break down how many hours it takes to get DJ to the end of a transaction? Lead generation. Let's say I got to lead generate for 3 focused, consistent hours to get one buyer that wants to sit down with me and do a buyer consult. and motivate a buyer, right? And then I sit down, I do my buyer consult, I bore them with the buyer guide, and I go through all the worksheets and the math, and I talk to them about the commitment, and I do all the stuff, right? The LP Mama things, right? And I get through my LP Mama things, I got my buyer consult, and then I say, let's go look at some properties. Well, we go look for a couple days, right? We look at a few today, we look at a few later in the week, we look at a few the week after. At the end of the day, I've probably spent 10 hours either preparing and prepping for showings or actually doing showings. Then we do the offer negotiations. That takes at least an hour. We go through the inspections, appraisals, and additional paperwork. Let's just say that's 4 hours. We go to the closing table because we like to give people their gifts and their presents and give them the hugs and the high fives and takes the great social media pictures with them. At the end of the day, it's 20 hours of focused effort with a potential buyer to get a closing. Doesn't mean that we don't have other work, working our CRM and our database and following up with clients and doing that kind of stuff. But in this particular thing where we get paid, it's 20 hours. Let's say that we had a showing agent. What would the showing agent versus the agent do in this particular model? We as agents, and hopefully showing agents, we'd still lead generate every single day. We're going to come in, we're going to generate our next client. We're going to do that for 3 hours. We're going to do the buyer consult, probably do the buyer consult with the showing agent, but we don't have to. So now we're 4 hours into it, but we're going to have the showing agent go do the showings. They're going to spend the 10 hours. Offer negotiations, you never give that up. You make sure that you're a part of that transaction. You get them to make a strong offer. You get them to be pre-approved. You get them to work through all the contingencies. You control that client experience, but the inspections and appraisals can go to the showing agent. Then one of you or both of you or just you go to closing. Still same 20 hours, but if you add it up, the main agent has done 3, 4, 5 hours. All right, 5, yeah. And the showing agent has done 6 hours, sorry. The main agent's done 6 hours, the showing agent's done 14. So let's look at the economics of that. As a solo agent, you're doing 36 transactions. I just picked an average $300,000 price. I know in Austin, we would all die to find a $300,000 home, but congratulations, that just means you get paid more. I mean, even Midland, Texas, your prices are really skyrocketing, and Dallas and all that. So our prices are getting way better. So this is just based on a $300,000 home. If you did 36,000 or 36 transactions, just 3 a month, not the 3 to 4, just 3, you would make 162,000 on your current team splits. That's calculated at 50% of a $9,000 commission. That's 162,000. That's a lot of money, by the way. That's great income, because for you, that's net income. You have very little expenses that come out of that. When you add that all up as an agent and you divide those 20 hours by that commission, you're making $225 an hour. That's not bad. That's pretty good. $225 an hour. Nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. So let's take a look at adding a showing agent. Many people are like, I don't want to give up the commission. You're focused on the wrong thing. You're not focused on making more money per hour. Because we found that when an agent brings in a showing agent, they don't do 36 transactions. They do 50 or 60 or 70. So I just did a little bit smaller. I did 52. The agent does 52 transactions. They make 163,000. Showing agent makes 70,000. That's based on a 15% pay to a showing agent and 35% pay to a buyer's agent. All markets are different. Commissions vary. So you got to work out what the economic works between you and the person you're going to hire. So in this particular situation, the agent who spent 5 hours is making $630 an hour. Showing agent is making an awesome income, still making $90 an hour. They can't make $90 an hour anywhere else in the market. So let me ask you a question. Would you rather A, make $225 an hour, or B, make $630 an hour? Everybody go and chat. I just want, this is an intelligence test and see if you're awake. Sarissa just says, duh. She doesn't put up with my games. She just like, no, you're an idiot. I'm not answering this, the 630 thing. No. Some people are like, I want the 225. Why? Because I like to be difficult. I'm from Texas. Texans, we think we're our own country. We get to be difficult. That's just who we are. Okay. However, what if you didn't just go to 50 transactions? What if you went to 60 transactions, which is what Tamara and Melina and our top people did, Anthony and Ryan, by simply adding a showing agent? That main agent makes 192,000. The showing agent makes 83,000. At 72, the main agent makes 226,000. Showing agent makes 97. That's a phenomenal living for both people. And if you put in Austin prices, the numbers are entirely different. It's probably double that or even higher. It's really a phenomenal opportunity. My point is simply for all of you to think about, how do you increase your hourly rate, not just increase your transactions. I want you to have an amazing life and have an amazing business. I want you to stop thinking about bringing in a showing partner as giving up money. I want you to think about it as making more money per hour and asking yourself an honest question. Will I, Samantha, use that newfound time to do something more productive? And if you will, leverage is your answer. If not, just be happy with that ceiling that you're creating for yourself, and that's okay. You're still going to make an amazing living, have an amazing life. Okay, let's do takeaways, conversations, questions, jokes. Anything? Nothing?
And can I chime in?
Please.
First of all, I love leverage. Leverage is my favorite. The team already like leverage is system, tools, and people. The team already gives us the systems and tools. So we're just talking about people today. I've had a showing agent, I've had assistants, and my quality of life and my energy and my happiness has just gone up a ton, as has my bank account. So you really can have it all. Like, I'm a living testament to it. Love it. Looking to hire another showing agent next.
Yeah, I love that. You know what's funny? This is kind of a side note, but in 2010, I was negative 500,000 on my net worth, and I had 30, 60, and 90-day lates on my credit report. True story. Over the years, my wealth has dramatically changed. In the beginning, do you know how my wealth changed? And all the little houses I bought. I became a millionaire based on the homes that I purchased for very little down, right? By saving up my next 3 to 5% down as an agent and buying that home and then renting it out and buying another one and then renting it out and buying another one. And as that continued to grow, that's where my first millions and millions of dollars came. So if you want to be wealthy and rich, like, it's not just about making a ton of money. It's about living on less than you earn and investing the rest. I decided that I could live on a fixed amount and that I would invest every dollar over that amount. So every dollar after that went into my down payment bank account or my stock bank account. Those are the two things that I would put my money into: buying more stocks, retirement, or buying more real estate. And that unlocked a lot of wealth for me because I put focus on making income in my daily job. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, the breakdown's awesome, looking at increasing the hourly rate and everything. And I think as we move through the leverage model, one thing that tends to get overlooked when people are hesitant to bring on their first piece of leverage is that if you're not treating it all as luxury and you are spending that time being more productive, taking listings, you almost get a double whammy because you get to increase your hourly rate, and then the bulk of your new business and scale can be listings, which require way less work because we already have that existing leverage in our business. So it is life-changing. But I think the more listings, and then that being the bulk of the business to save you more time to then go be with your family and all the other things that you mentioned in our personal lives, that gets overlooked. And I think if with this breakdown and then focusing on those listings where that time probably should go, if you're scaling a real estate business, more people would do it sooner and implement the actions to get to that part of the leverage model sooner as well. So this breakdown really helps. The people I've shown this to, it becomes pretty clear on the hourly rate on that too.
Brandon, that's so smart. And for all of you, in the beginning, it's a little harder to get listings, but here's one of the secrets that I learned. Everybody lives somewhere. And 65% of the homes in America are owned by owner-occupied real estate. So every buyer you meet, probably 6 out of 10 have a home to sell. So in our efforts to get listings should come from our efforts to work the leads that we have. Remember to ask everybody, just out of curiosity, do you have a home that you would like to sell or consider selling, or it'd be worthwhile for us to give you an update on its value? Every person you meet, and then you'll wake up and you'll have a lot of listings. We're in a tight listing market right now. but that'll shift and we'll come in a heavy listing market. So build those skills today. Like there was a year where I took 217 listings by going on 243 listing appointments myself. I went on every single one of those myself, right? So you can do that too. Judy, my friend.
Hey, I was just gonna say, like, so looking at the numbers was really good. And then also, I know for me personally, when Laura talked to me about this model before me and Jordan partnered up and she joined me as a showing assistant, it was really like the mental health side, like, was struggling because as a mom with 4 little ones that are all very active and stuff, like, I was missing a lot. Like, I had other moms sending me pictures and sending updates while I was at working or was having to drop them off for rides. And so that was something that was huge for me because I knew growing up, like, I always had someone at my stuff and then I wasn't at any of their stuff, and time flies. I mean, I have one that'll be in this will be in junior high next year. And it's like, it seems like yesterday when we were bringing her home. And so just that model, the leverage model and freeing up that time, like, I don't have to miss near as much now. I mean, there are still days that I miss stuff, but I get to be much more of a present parent at their activities because of this model and having that leverage.
I think you and Jordan are a great example. I don't know if you saw in chat, but Jordan wrote, Judy and I leverage each other by being partners, and it gives us both the ability to spend our time effectively on how we need and how we want. And I think what's key in that is that showing agent doesn't work for you. A showing agent is your partner. Showing agent, you don't work for that lead agent. You're their partner, and you're partners, and partners support each other and treat each other like partners, and they talk to each other like partners, and partners grow up together. And sometimes that showing agent is going to be running that team for you, just like Jolene now runs so much of my world and she started as the assistant. You never know where that leadership's going to come from. But Judy, I love that Jordan sees you as a partner and you see her as one. That's awesome. Adelina, any final takeaways for us today or thoughts that you want to give to the group?
I love where you went with this, being that you can be an agent anywhere. And yet this is the place for partnership. And what partnership looks like in our world is you start and build your business through systems and training that we have. And then as you take listings, you have listing coordinators that are your assistants that help you on the team. And as you get pendings, you have transaction coordinators that help you with your transactions, so your dollar per hour is higher. And then Brivity is your personal assistant, right? It tells you what to do every time you open it up, right? And then if you want to increase your 40 hours a week to 80 hours a week, that's when you can get a showing partner or a buyer partner. Like, leverage is all around us. There's so many options. So I'm really grateful for this conversation. I think a lot of people took a lot. I saw lots of private messages as well. Click everyone so it doesn't come just to me, but you guys are doing great. I appreciate that so much. Ben, this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. You've got 1,000,001 things to do. And the thing I appreciate most about you over the years is you always keep the number one, and it's the agents in the trenches. And you know, we're getting bigger. There's great things happening. All of these things will benefit all of us. But at the end of the day, it's the people that make us who we are and build this company. And I'm grateful that year after year after year, you've put our people first.
Well, I wake up every day, just like you do, Adelina, interviewing and trying to find a way to stay partners with all of you. And I think when we think about it that way, that Matt, our job is to wake up every day and figure out how do we strengthen our relationship and strengthen our partnership and find ways that we both win together. That's a long-term way that we'll all be really rewarded. If we think about ourselves as independent soul soldiers, or we don't think about the people we work with as our partners, then it all starts to crumble and you'll just move from the next place to the next place. So Texas and those that sneak into the Texas call, really appreciate you all being here, and I'm excited to be invited to the next one. And we'll see you Friday morning, 8 a.m. for a little bit longer than normal, kind of state of the company update. You don't get just Chris this week, you get Chris and Ben live and obnoxious as I always am, 8 a.m. Pacific on Friday. Hope to see you all there. Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Ben.